Hello, buddy, and welcome to a tropical update here. This is tropical storm Josephine that you're seeing on your stream, on your screen here, rather, right now. You can see that big burst of convection. There's three big bursts of convection, rather, I should say, on the last few frames there, around near the center there. The actual center of circulation is actually to the south of all that deep convection here. If that center of circulation went right over those cold cloud tops, then we'd be talking about a completely different animal than we are now. But of course, fortunately, its under circulation is staying to the south of where all that deep convection is, and time remains to be seen if it tries to intensify a little bit more before wind shear increases more than it is now and gets a hold of it, or if it decides to intensify just a little bit more, of course, before it gets sheared here. But this is Tropical Storm Josephine here. And again, fortunately, at this point in time, at least, this can of course change. We've seen stuff like this change over hours here in past seasons, and this season so far, we've seen situations change rapidly. So hopefully that's not the case with this storm, and hopefully it decides to continue to go away from land and of course start to weaken here. But again, the center of circulation is to the south of where all that convection has been firing off right there on your screen, so that's fortunate. And here's the latest forecast cone for Tropical Storm Josephine here. As of the 11 p.m. Atlantic Standard Time Advisory 14, the center is currently located at 18.3 degrees north, 57.4 degrees west. Maximum sustained 1-minute winds are at 45 miles per hour. Moving to the west-northwest at 16 miles per hour there. And of course, Josephine poses no threat, fortunately, to land other than the island of Bermuda here, as by that point, either a dissipated storm or a extratropical, post-tropical storm there. And fortunately, Bermuda has really high building codes up there. They've been through very fair share storms there, so it's probably not going to be too much of an issue for the island of Bermuda there, thankfully. And as you can see here on the latest forecast here for Tropical Storm Josephine here, they forecast the storm to maintain its intensity of 45 miles per hour for about the next 24 hours or so before it starts to gradually weaken from there on out, eventually turning into a tropical depression in 48 hours, and then eventually turning into a post-tropical or remnant low in about 96 hours from now, as of this latest update here. And of course, this is the latest forecast discussion, so you could, of course, stop the video right now. I'm not going to read the entire thing, but you could stop the video right now and read what the National Hurricane Center has to say for this latest update on the storm. And we also have newly formed Tropical Storm Kyle. Kyle formed earlier today. This is the forecast discussion for Tropical Storm Kyle. I could, of course, stop the video right now and read that forecast discussion. But, of course, the main thing I want to bring attention to is in 24 hours as of this update, they forecast Tropical Storm Kyle to strengthen into a 60-mile-per-hour tropical storm before eventually turning into a post-tropical or extratropical storm in about 48 hours, and then eventually dissipating in about 96 hours from the National Hurricane Center as of their latest advisory number 2 on Tropical Storm Josephine here. Not Josephine, Tropical Storm Kyle, I mean, as you can see here in this cone right there. And as of this latest cone, 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time Advisory number 2. It's currently located at 38.3 degrees north, 70.0 degrees west, moving to the east-northeast at 16 miles per hour, and maximum sustained 1-minute winds are at 45 miles per hour, and fortunately poses no threat to the east coast here. Only real threat this storm may pose is maybe just an increased rip current risk along the east coast, but other than that, that's going to be about it for Tropical Storm Kyle. And again, it's moving away from land areas here, fortunately, over time. We also have Tropical Depression 10E in the Eastern Pacific here. You can see as of this latest update of the 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time Advisory 8. You can see it's currently located at 13.4 degrees north, 133.1 degrees west. Maximum sustained winds are at 35 miles per hour, which is still tropical depression status, and moving to the due west at 3 miles per hour. And this storm, like I said in the last update, poses no threat to land whatsoever at this point in time, thankfully. Only a threat for any shipping interests along this area of interest, this tropical depression here. Tropical Depression 10E is eventually forecast to form into a tropical storm in 96 hours from now. And if it does eventually end up becoming a tropical storm, it'll be given a name, Tropical Storm Fausto, which is the next name on the naming list for the 2020 Eastern Pacific season there, hurricane season there. And this is the latest forecast cone, of course, for 10E, and you could read what they say on that forecast for a detailed look there. Also forgot to show you, this is infrared imagery of Tropical Storm Kyle. You see in front of your screen there off of GO16. It gets you shears currently affecting the system, but of course, the National Hurricane Center forecast Kyle to intensify into a 60-mile-per-hour tropical storm before eventually dissipating over the next few hours here and into later this week here, fortunately. And again, poses no threat to land other than maybe some increased rip current risks along the coastline as it races away from you guys in the East Coast, fortunately. Interesting, a little tidbit of information here from this tropical storm. Now that Tropical Storm Kyle formed, this marks the earliest formation of the earliest K named storm in the Atlantic basin since they started naming storms in the 1950s, here in the mid 1950s, if my mind remembers correctly, when they started naming these storms here. So it's the earliest K named storm since the 1950s here. Pretty remarkable here. The previous record was held by, and I can't believe I'm saying this, was held by the infamous Hurricane Katrina in 2005, when Hurricane Katrina first formed as a tropical storm on August 24th, 2005. So Tropical Storm Kyle right now beat out the previous record set by Hurricane Katrina by 10 days here. Again, 10 days it beat out the previous record by, so really remarkable stuff we're seeing here. And then before I lose this, here's a also a loop of Tropical Depression 10E currently going on in East Pacific there, and you can see it's also seared. This time it's seared from looks like the northeast there or north there. So that's why all that deep convection is just to the south of that, all south of the center circulation. The center circulation, of course, is right about where my mouse cursor is, and all that deep convection is to the south of it. But National Hurricane Center forecast this storm to eventually turn into Tropical Storm Fausto later this weekend here. So we'll just keep an eye on that. And again, at this point in time, poses no threat to land, fortunately. And then other than these, other than Tropical Depression 10E and Kyle and Josephine, we have another area of interest. We have areas of interest to look at here in the Eastern Pacific. Let's take a look at disturbance number one. Disturbance number one has a medium 60% chance of formation throughout the next 48 hours and 5 days. Disturbance number two has a 70% chance of formation throughout the next 48 hours and 5 days. And of course, you can stop the video and read this forecast here from the National Hurricane Center. And finally, disturbance number three has a 90% chance of formation throughout the next 5 days and a 70% chance of formation throughout the next 48 hours into at least a tropical depression strength storm or higher, is what that means. And then lastly, last but not least, we have another area of interest in the Central Pacific here. Disturbance number one, 20% chance of formation throughout the next 48 hours, and throughout the next 5 days has a 40% chance of formation here. And here's the graphical outlook for this storm here. You can see where the center is marked. And then for the Eastern Pacific here, you can see there. So an active phase for the Eastern Pacific here. And this is unfortunately, this is probably going to be a sign of things to come for the Atlantic side of things as well. So take a look at the wide view of the Atlantic basin here, and you can see, of course, Kyle up there, and then Josephine right there, and then in the Eastern Pacific here, you can see just all that activity going on in Eastern Pacific now. But right now is the time to prepare for this hurricane season. If you haven't done so already, please do. Please take this season seriously. This season is forecast to be a active season, and keep in mind when I say this that at this point in time, right now, as I'm recording this, we were supposed to be in a lull in activity. We were supposed to have no named storms at this point in time, and of course, right in front of your screen right now, we have two named storms on the top of your screen. We got Kyle right there, and then we got Tropical Storm Josephine below that there. So a sign of things to come, unfortunately, by the looks of it. Looks like we're going to be in for a rough season if all the models are to be believed in these current trends are to be believed here. So please make sure you have a plan. You have your hurricane plan ready to go. If you have a hurricane kit, make sure you get one, or if you have one already, make sure you have it updated with the newest information. All your essentials you need for this year, especially now that we're in a that we've been through we're still in actually a pandemic here. So make sure you have all your information there. Make sure you're ready for this season. Of course, it's forecast to be an active and brutal season this year. And again, right now, just to show you how active this season is already, we're already at Kyle, and we're supposed to be in a lull in activity right now. We're not supposed to have any named storms. We have 2 named storms in the Atlantic Basin at this point in time. Pretty remarkable stuff here. But of course, now is the time to prepare for perhaps any possible threats already. We've already had 2 hurricane landfalls so far. We had one in North Carolina and one in, of course, South Texas that affected me. So please, I plead with you, please prepare for this hurricane season if you're along the coast, and if you're usually threatened by hurricane seasons, hurricanes in general, really, or tropical storms in general. Please be prepared for this season. We don't want to be one of those people that aren't prepared when the actual situation comes and they get threatened by either a hurricane or a tropical storm or even a major hurricane. So this season's forecast to be really busy here. We're gonna get through it. Of course, we've been through seasons that have been busy before. Of course, maybe not not like this magnitude already right now, but we've been through busy seasons before, and we're gonna get through it one day at a time here. I promise you. Just please prepare in advance for this hurricane season. It's forecast to be a busy and brutal hurricane season here if models are to be believed here. So hope everybody has a great day and you guys are stay safe, of course. Until then, I guess see you guys in the next video. Peace.